Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the After 90 Talk. I'm your host, Ivan Garcia, and as always, I'm here with my nephew, Andrew. How you doing?
Good. And you?
Doing well, man. Nice shirt. Like to see it.
No, thank you. We'll get into why I'm wearing this.
Yeah, so we're back with you guys for another episode of the After 90 Talk, and a lot of football this weekend, and there's actually international break, so there's no club information to bring out, but a lot of international games going on. Uefa Nations League, both in CONCACAF and in Europe, and then World Cup qualifiers everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get right into the action locally out here in the CONCACAF region. We're in Southern California, so the action of the Nations League took place just here in our backyard in Inglewood at the beautiful SoFi Stadium. The finals last night, a beautiful Sunday in Los Angeles, Andrew. Beautiful day for football. The United States played first against Canada for the third round, but the real important match on Sunday there at SoFi Stadium was the Mexico against Panama game, with Mexico beating Panama. Yeah. The first time Mexico wins the Nations League. The first time any other team other than the United States wins it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've won it. They actually did a three-peat. They had won it 3 times before a new team like Mexico won it. So obviously we got a new championship, and luckily it was Mexico that won it. I mean, do you want to start off with Mexico first? Or do you want to talk about USA?
Let's give Mexico the praise, right? They deserve it. They're crowned champions. I think justified, right? They're better than Canada in the semifinal midweek.
Yeah, I mean, it was very surprising. I thought there was no chance. I mean, looking at how good and how well and how competitive Canada were in the Copa America against Southern American teams. Obviously, they faced the champions Argentina twice, but even though they both lost those games, I thought they performed very well. They put a high standard for a CONCACAF team. So I mean, I think coming into this, I think everyone, including me and you, probably thought that the final was going to be USA versus Canada. But I mean, Mexico did well, and I think that the reason that Mexico did so well was because of their defense, and I think that was a big part on why we kind of that's like our identity then. Like I feel like in the Copa America we weren't too attackive, but we've only conceded 1 goal in that whole Copa America tournament, and obviously it was only 1. So I think this match proved that point. We got a clean sheet. But I thought also it was very weird for Canada. They had Jonathan David as in the number 10 role, and they had Kyle Larin, who hasn't really been in form for Mallorca and so far this season. So it was kind of weird seeing him play the striker over Jonathan David. But yeah, I mean, Mexico, like I said, they did what they're good at is defending, and I thought Joan Vasquez was very well. I thought Edson Alves did a pretty good job covering for Cesar Montes, because he actually was expelled in the I believe the Copa America, so he couldn't play for 2 games or something. I thought they did very well. And we said it before. We said we a couple of podcasts ago, we were wondering if Javier Aguirre would ever play Santi Jimenez and Raul Jimenez in the same team, and they did. And I think you pointed out that I think that experience that Raul Jimenez has to be that creator for Santi. And although it was kind of a quiet tournament for Santiago Jimenez personally, I think they both kind of did well what they could have done. I think this is the first time they've ever played together.
Yeah, I think the presence of Santiago Jimenez adds a threat to Mexico, right? Mm-hmm. It adds a threat because there's multiple players that have a high quality, that you really haven't seen too much before in Mexico. Like, I mean, recently at least, right? The strikers up front are just everybody knows who they are. They're clinical, and then you can't take your eye off of them. They actually draw defenders to them, multiple defenders. So yeah, for me it does add a lot. Like you said, it has the goal scorers or strikers, they live off of goals, right? Like,
Yeah,
and they need to produce goals. But if they're still able to add to the attacking team, then that's, you add a different dimension to your game. I think as an attacker, where you're still a threat, but you're not scoring goals, and that's okay for a team if you continue to win. That's an important part. And then another thing is that if they aren't put to play together ever, then they're never gonna learn how to do that, right? How to use each other's abilities, in each other's favor. So, definitely, I think it's a huge positive for him to be, and then to gain experience at international level. There's nothing like actually playing these games, and win or lose a final, you still get that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, though, I think this whole national team, including Javier Aguirre, kind of had pressure on themselves to put a pretty good performance. I think recently with the iteration of Javier Aguirre, I think he's given us a couple positive results, better than what we've had under Diego Coca, Tata Martino, even Jaime Lozano. So it's a different. We're finally seeing better results, but I think what the Mexican Federation and fans want to see is the better play. And it is hard because I think in the midfield for Mexico, there's still not enough quality. We do have promising players like Eric Lira. He's finally becoming more of a starter. He started the first game for Canada or against Canada, so he looks like he's a midfielder that's going to be in the next national team now. For now on, obviously with Andres Guardado retiring recently, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, to keep talking about Jimenez, I mean, we gave praise to him a couple weeks ago, and I think they worked very well. I think him personally, he was creating a lot of chances. He just looked very confident, like he just doesn't. He tries because he knows he has that ability, and I think it's gonna get more Santiago Jimenez for him to get used to. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I said, it wasn't his best couple games for Mexico. I mean, he gets to go home with a trophy, and I mean, he's a part of that team. But I mean, were there any other players that impressed you, or because I also thought that Piojo Alvarado was actually pretty impressive.
I was gonna say Piojo Alvarado for sure. Edson Alvarez too. I mean, he plays in multiple positions, and he's really a standout for Mexico. His leadership too. I think he makes a lot of bad mistakes, and overall, like silly mistakes, like get cards and stuff, like yellow cards. But at the end of the day, he is one of the pillars of the Mexican national team in the midfield and in defense, and then leadership as well. Yeah. So definitely him, Malagón too. Continuing to do to show he's capable of being the Mexico number one.
Yeah, he's finally like stepping up, and hopefully we can push away Ochoa and let Malagón finally come into the spot.
Yeah. So I mean, I have huge praises for Ochoa. I wouldn't say push away, but there does need to be that change. And again, it should have happened in 2022. You take Ochoa, but you take Malagón, or you take another young goalkeeper that's is you're expecting him to take the ranks. It would have been a great opportunity for Malagón. He was already showing it back in 22 too. So, but let's stick to the Nations League. Let's stick to the Nations League. Let's bring it back to the Nations League. Mexico beating Canada 2-0 midweek. And then, like you said, Raul Jimenez, a great performance by him with 2 goals, a beautiful free kick goal, and then the U.S. Being eliminated by Panama, also midweek in the semifinal. It was on the same day, back-to-back matchups at SoFi, and then that led us back into Sunday with the final. The third place match happening first. USA losing to Canada, to a very good Canadian team, but then Mexico again with the dominant performance by Raul Jimenez, taking the 2-1 victory. A very good start for Raul Jimenez in both games. Right, scoring early on in both games, and then in the final, he took advantage of a goalkeeper error, right away off the bat, a cross by Alvarado. The goalkeeper over committed, I guess. And also missed the ball.
As well as the defender too. They didn't really give any talk. They didn't communicate with each other. So that's a mistake by Panama's defense right there.
Yeah, and then Jimenez took advantage. He's a lethal striker, so you expect him to take advantage of that. He did. And then kind of closing the first half, a penalty awarded to Panama. And the Pumas player Carrasquilla taking that penalty and looking good. He looked good all tournament too as well. He looked good, one of the dominant players.
Yeah.
Panama, couple players in the Premier. I'm sorry, yeah, I think there's a player in the Premier. There's a player in the Championship at Nottingham. Players in Liga MX, players in MLS.
And they also have one player that's playing for the San Diego FC as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
MLS,
correct.
so,
Yes,
so
he just started yesterday.
Yeah.
And then so they're good. They were good on the weekend. Obviously, beating USA midweek. And then but back to the Sunday game. Late in the Sunday game, inexcusable.
But
Arm and a handball in the box at the end of the game, just heartbreaking for Panama, and that opened up the opportunity for Raul Jimenez to consolidate himself as the player of the tournament. We already you guys should already know Jimenez is lethal from the penalty spot.
Yeah, I believe
he does not miss penalties.
Yeah, I believe he's only missed one in entire career. So
Yeah.
That's impressive. I think he even has an 100% penalty take rate in the Premier League. So, I mean that's penalty and Jimenez, they go together so well. And
he is lethal. He looked lethal. He looked confident taking that penalty, and that ended up being the winning goal for Mexico in the tournament. High praise to Jimenez. We talked about him just last week. Rounding off his premier campaign and everything he's been doing lately and throughout his career. So very, very happy for him. We already knew the quality that he is, and he's just showing it with Mexico finally.
I know.
And then obviously Mexico just playing better than they have in the last 3 or 4 years, really. So it's exciting to see that. Javier Aguirre, a huge experienced coach, not just for Mexico, but he's world known. He's been coaching in Spain for a very long time. And just his teams show his quality at Osasuna, Mallorca. Where is he at now? Or where was he before he came to?
Yeah, he was at Mallorca before he took the national team job. But even then, he did pretty well. He took them to, I believe, Copa del Rey final, losing on penalties.
He coached Atletico Madrid too.
As well.
He really led Atletico Madrid's resurgence back into competitive football. They had gone down to the second division at one point, and then they came back, and then Javier Aguirre took him. He brought, he brought Diego Forlán to the team, Kun Agüero, and put them back in the Champions League category type team. And then Simeone took that and just ran with it. Did a great job. But yeah, kudos to Mexico doing their job. Winning a tournament. The tournament's not as important, but it is important to win. Because it just gives you the ability to work with more calmness, and that's gonna allow Javier Aguirre, to. He's got a year, right? He's got a year to prepare the team for the World Cup, and just again being a championship team at any championship that you're going into, and it's important. It's important for Mexico for the confidence of the players, the confidence of the fans in this team, and in this system that they're trying to build. I know a lot of the Mexico fans are actually starting to get
on board,
and it's good. It's good for the Mexican national team.
It's still gonna take more though for us to really push a positive result in the World Cup. Obviously, I think we have a lot of expectations since we're playing at home. So yeah, like you said, I think this trophy and this win for Mexico in general gives them more confidence. Hopefully, it gives them more. A mentality to keep pushing, even though to pretty much be the best CONCACAF team in the nation. So all praise to Mexico.
Yeah, no, I actually I'm one person that does not like the Nations League. I think it's a waste of time. I think that Mexico's time, especially as they go into preparations for a World Cup, can be used better. Right, when you're a World Cup host team, you automatically go into the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And so that means you're not competing every international break. You're not competing to get into the World Cup.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's a waste of time for me is because it forces Mexico to stay in the CONCACAF, playing against its rivals that it plays all the time. And it should be better used to take this group, travel to South America, travel to Asia, travel to Europe and play against those countries and get you prepared for a World Cup.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
where you're not, you have more pressure on you because you're playing away,
Yeah.
you're tired, whatever it is, put everything against you and get prepared for that World Cup.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on the Nations League.
I
did want to make sure that I point that out
Yeah,
because
yeah.
to me it's a waste of time.
Well, yeah, I did hear news that I think Mexico might be in talks with Japan and Argentina to play friendlies. So that's I think that's a better quality than in the CONCACAF. So that's definitely give us more preparation for the World Cup. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think definitely. I don't know what's the point of playing the same region all the time when in reality you should be playing teams that you don't play often. And
Yeah.
But I hope that Mexico have a year, so hopefully they get prepared very well. They play against opponents that are very tough, and they get players to keep on pushing to get a World Cup spot. So.
Man, we spent a lot more time talking about Mexico than I thought we would. But yeah, they've got. I don't know, the Mexicans. We put high expectations on them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can make a good run next year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to U.S. USA losing to Canada. Losing twice this week, right? Once to Panama midweek to get eliminated in the semis, and then in the place for the third place, they lost to Canada. Is it surprising, Andrew? Canada's a good team. Canada's a good team. Their lineup is stacked. They've got players at Rennes. They've got Alphonso Davis, who's one of the best players in world football.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good players. They have players in Villarreal and Rennes, and so they're stacked.
Yeah, a lot of the Canada national team playing like Ligue 1. But I mean, regardless though,
Time out.
Yeah.
Do you realize that for some reason Canada and US have players like their whole lineup is in Europe? Why Mexico? Why do the Mexicans not get that opportunity?
I think that's because
is it the Mexican teams that
it's the money, man. Yeah, I mean, you could tell.
I wanted to time out doesn't that blow your mind?
Well, if you look at it, USA have a lot of players in that team that went to Europe at 17. You have like Christian Pulisic, who was at Dortmund. He wasn't even professional. He was at the academy. You have players like Timothy Weah, who started off at PSG. A bunch of these players, not just in USA but in Canada, they go through academies in MLS, but they get produced.
But Mexico, dude, like they have so many, like they can do it. It's not like they can't do it.
Yeah,
but
it's just
it's the money.
I think it's the money, and it's also
such short-sightedness from the Mexican teams, dude.
Yeah.
If they can prove that they're quality players, even like it's an investment. If you send them for free, send your best players for free for a few years, and then once everybody sees what kind of players the Mexico can produce and what kind of players they are, they can be buying them, man. Sorry, but
no, I mean
it blows my mind.
It's a good point to take because I think that's what has that. I think that's the reason why Canada and USA are now a very like back in the day, like maybe 5-10 years, maybe 10 years ago, Mexico were, I think they were the level above USA and Canada. I think Canada were very low as well, but I think that's the thing, that a lot of the players from Canada and USA who are playing now have gone to go play Europe at like 20 or something, while Mexico kept just staying the same old Mexicans, sell one every couple years to a European team, you know. But I think that's why Canada and USA are at a higher level now, is because they've actually prepared. They had taken their time.
They've made those sacrifices, right? Even economically, like they've lost money in transfers, but now they're reaping those rewards, I guess, in international level.
And then it's paying off. But one thing that's not paying off is USA, because I mean, obviously, to get back into this, I mean, they had a whole transfer, or not transfer saga, but they fired
Greg
Berhalter, and then obviously bringing in Pochettino. To me, that was the weirdest kind of managerial tactic. I mean,
choice.
I mean, the only thing that he's really can be known for is almost winning a Premier League with Tottenham. But I mean, regardless, he's not really that much of a big difference. Yeah, he won a trophy in at his time in PSG, but I mean, that's kind of guaranteed. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think the way that USA played, I don't think it was convincing. I mean, you have star players in that team. You have Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. I think was pretty good as well this tournament. But I think the one thing that they made a big mistake on was starting Matt Turner. He's the player, or he's the goalkeeper that I think has the least minutes out of all three goalkeepers that were selected, and a lot of people will blame his positioning and his dive on the winner for Panama, which I kind of look at it and I agree. I'm like, yeah, why would you start a goalkeeper who hasn't played at all this entire? I think he has like less than 180 minutes, while other players and goalkeepers have over like 1,000 because they actually are consistent with their team and they actually are involved in the team. So it was very weird. But yeah, I mean, again, yeah, it's just disappointing. I mean, not even winning a single game, only scoring one goal in this competition. It's disappointing for USA, especially for the project that they want. And again, they're hosting the World Cup. They have huge expectations on them to make something out of this World Cup, and for them to get grouped in the Copa America and then pretty much get grouped in the Nations League. It's disappointing. It's disappointing.
Yeah, good point on Pochettino. I don't know if his play style fits the United States team. I don't know what led to the decision of Pochettino being the best choice for the US. I think the biggest thing was that he's a high profile guy. He's just a high profile coach in world football. He's known, right? He coached big teams.
Yeah.
Not necessarily very. He didn't accomplish very much as far as like winning, maybe PSG, like you said, it's a given.
Yeah.
But he was in a dominant coach. So it to me it also does. I could just imagine him in the locker room talking to these Americans, just being nice. Just being a cordial person. But as an American person, also, I'm like, no, you need somebody that's going to talk to them the way that they need to be talked to, and put them where they need to be put and in their place. And somebody more, I just don't see that. I could just imagine him in the locker room, maybe even requiring a translator. I don't know. He speaks English pretty good, but still. To me, it's just the personality. I don't know if his personality fits for what a United States coach needs to be. I mean, you've worked in teams here in the United States. Your coaches they're strict. They're obviously they're courteous and professional, but you need to have that personality to be the leader. And I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold that down in America.
And that's the thing. I don't understand why they fired Greg Berhalter this early into the World Cup. They only gave. I kind of feel bad because they only gave Pochettino only 2 years to really do something with this team.
Yeah.
And even then, I feel like he has to be nice to win this team over to finally grab them by the nuts and say, okay, we gotta win. We gotta prove a point. So it is unlucky for Pochettino to get this early of a job, especially for a team that has high expectations leading into the World Cup. But I mean, regardless, I think it's either do or die. They have to do something in the Copa Oro. I mean, win it, but I think either way they have to perform big. They have to find their play style, find the way they want to win in the World Cup. I mean, I don't expect anything. I don't expect USA to win, but I expect them to show out and show that U.S. soccer is now on another level, and they're projecting to go even higher.
To me, notable absence in this USA team. No, Johnny Carrasco. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised to not see him. I think he should be starting over Weston McKennie. He was
actually injured. So they had lost him before that.
Thank you. And then Alejandro Sendejas from America.
Yeah, he was snubbed.
I don't understand that leaving him out. Again, like I've told you in the past, a lot of priority is given to the European. Maybe Pochettino needs to look down south because Sendejas is in incredible form right now. Yeah. He's a threat all over the pitch. And I think there's definitely room for him in this national team. So, for me, a notable absence. Mm-hmm. You ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on.
We're gonna move on into the another Nations League. This time in Europe, the UEFA Nations League getting down to the semifinals. Yeah. Over the midweek and then this weekend, the quarterfinal action out there in Europe. Just eight of the best teams in Europe and in the world going head to head. And it was very exciting, right? Very exciting. It's kind of a penalty fest the whole the whole weekend.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Mexico and getting a bunch of penalties in the final, right? 2 penalties in that final in CONCACAF, and then in the quarterfinal action in the Uefa Nations League, a lot of penalties. Real quick, just Germany really blowing out Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
At both at home, they in the first leg of the quarterfinal they beat Italy 2-1 away in Italy, and then a 3-3 draw in Germany. But really, Germany had it the whole time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They had
yeah.
it the whole way. Italy kind of made it a better scoreline at the end of the match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw the first match between Italy and Germany, but there was this funny like they pretty much got caught out in a corner, and the whole team just was not. It was like a Trent 2.0 pretty much, and that's
Yeah.
how. So luckily, Germany got that confident, or like they had that. Like okay, we should.
It was comedy, dude.
Yeah, it was funny. But I mean,
Kimmich taking the
Yeah,
goal
yeah,
kick,
yeah.
the corner kick early, catching Donnarumma, like just talking to the defense, really,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then the tap in for who scored that
I
goal?
think that was maybe Kai Havertz. Maybe. Oh, actually, no. I think he's injured. I don't know. Some German.
It was
forward.
a tap in. It was a tap in.
But yeah, actually, that game he had three. He was the man of the match. He got 1 goal and 2 assists. So yeah, I
Awesome.
think you've said that as well. Kimmich has been one of the most informed midfielders in the world. So
Yeah.
it's good to see him
Yeah.
perform again big.
And then another one of the quarterfinal legs that very exciting match. Portugal coming back against Denmark. Denmark 1-0 victory in Denmark. A goal by Rasmus Holland. Nice goal for him, and he actually did the sweet to celebrate in front of Portugal. He did Cristiano Ronaldo celebration.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But that
and
bit them in the ass because they lost. They lost.
yeah, the second game, they lost by a pretty large score, 5-2, but a great, exciting match. Denmark taking the lead,
Yeah.
Portugal coming back, and then just them going back and forth. It was kind of a goal fest.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo also missing a penalty.
Oh, yeah.
In that match, he just gave it away.
Yeah. Not a good penalty at all.
He did make it up. He scored a pretty good goal as a rebound. Very exciting match. Portugal, a lot of quality in Portugal,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Always like their players are just playing at the highest level.
Yeah, definitely.
And then another kind of goal fest. Spain versus Holland. 2-2 draw in Holland. Very exciting match. Great goals.
Yeah.
By both teams really. And then yesterday, second leg, another goal fest, 3-3. And then the teams went to penalties. And very exciting penalty shootout.
Yeah.
What are your highlights from those matches, Andrew?
I mean, it was a goal fest. I think it was just back and forth. It looked like Spain were gonna go through. Lamine Yamal had scored a goal in the 103rd minute. It was a beautiful goal, and it looked like that was pretty much it. It looked like no way that Netherlands would come back after that. That was 3-2. Unlucky though. Spain gave a penalty in the 109th minute. And it was Xavi Simons who scored it. It was pretty good substitutes by Ronald Koeman actually before all the penalties in the extra time. I think they were down 2-1, and they had scored a goal from subs. Noel Lang, Xavi Simons, I believe, and I forgot who else. But his subs really came in crucial. But it's unlucky they went through penalties. It was again back and forth. But yeah, I mean Pedri, my favorite player, scored the winning penalty, and now they're going through the round of. Or no, actually, the semifinals. So yeah, it was a pretty good game, goal fest. And yeah, I mean, it's a quality game.
Yeah, it was exciting. A lot of young talent in both of those squads. So it's exciting, right? Lamine Yamal at 17, freaking just balling out.
Yeah.
He missed a penalty, but
He did.
It's kind of like lazily
lazy
kicked,
penalty.
right? I hope he learns from that. He needs to be more clinical up there and have
Yeah.
more confidence. But I mean, 17 years old, he's still got
Also,
tons of time to to keep improving.
Yeah. Also, I remember. You remember the player I was talking about, Dean Huijsen, right? The defender that was playing for Bournemouth. He actually made his national team debut for Spain against the country that he would have represented, the Netherlands.
Oh.
And on the first match, all the Netherlands fans just booed him every time he touched the ball. Everything. He actually did start, or he was substituted in the first game because Pau Cubarsí actually got injured. So not looking good for Barca fans. It's kind of worrying because he's probably one of our best center backs, but hopefully it's nothing too major. I haven't heard any news. But yeah, Dean Huijsen started this game as well. Performed pretty big as well. So yeah, just, another player to keep your eye on, 19-year-old. So
Awesome. And moving on, France versus Croatia. France beating Croatia on penalties.
Yeah.
Very, very good penalty shootout. A lot of misses actually in that penalty shootout. And then Mignolet, the goalkeeper for France, a couple of stops coming just through huge for his country. A 2-2 draw. I'm sorry, a 2-2 draw on aggregate, I guess you could say. Croatia doing their job at home, 2-0 victory midweek, and then France coming back. A lot of firepower from France, just all over Croatia in the second match, and then finally getting the 2 goals. I know the tying goal on the tie was Dembele.
Yeah.
Pretty good goal. I mean, he kind of tapped it in, but he was clinical. He was where he needed to be. Who scored the first goal for France?
Michael Olise. I was gonna say, I think it was the Michael Olise show because he was just running that right hand side. He looks dangerous as always, and I mean he keeps performing big. I mean, after he got a huge move to Bayern Munich from Crystal Palace, he keeps on performing. And yeah, I mean I like Olise. He's a very calm player on the ball, but he's just so. He's just very calm, but he knows what to do. And yeah, I mean, you got a goal and assist. But yeah, I mean, they go to penalties. Yeah, I mean, just the misses were worse than the actual goals. There was just, I know Koundé had hit it off the bar, I believe. Theo Hernandez was just wide.
His was bad. He started way wide.
Yeah, but to talk about the game, I think Livakovic was a very key match, or key player in the match. He kept Croatia in this team. He had incredible saves. I think this game could have gone 4-0 in the hand of France, but he keeps performing. So yeah, I mean, it sucks for Croatia, but I think they do get I believe that the losers from the quarterfinals get a better. They get a better spot in I believe the Euros or something. I know the losers of it get a better spot. I know they got like an easier team like Montenegro and everybody. But yeah, I mean, I think also the winners of the competition get a better spot as well. So
okay,
it'll be interesting. But yeah, it was just a goal fest in general. And yeah, it was really entertaining match.
The semifinal matches will be taking place in June. And the ties are as follows. Germany is going to take on Portugal on June 4th. And then also on June 5th, Spain will play against France. Okay. So, Andrew, I hate predictions. Well, do you want to give predictions?
Oof. I mean, we're getting a rematch from that semifinal from Spain and France. I'm just hoping for another Lamine Yamal show, and hopefully he can shut up Rabiot again. It's difficult now. I think this France team is probably stronger than the Euro team that they had.
Yep.
Obviously, now you have Mbappe in an incredible form now. Again,
Dembele,
Michael Olise. So it's just in general, this team is really good. For Spain, I think it's a bit of a downgrade. Obviously, you're losing Rodri, a very integral part into that Euro winning team.
You don't think he'll be back by June?
I don't know. I don't know if he'll be fit enough to play.
Sure.
I think he'll maybe be back, but I don't know if he will. If he'll be in form.
Yeah.
For City too, and again for that City team, as well. You have Nico Williams, who isn't really that impressing as last season. So I have it. I think Spain will probably edge it just a little bit, not too much. I don't think it'll be that crazy game. I think it might just be like about a 1-0 game. But for Portugal and Germany, I think I have Germany winning that. I mean, to lose at home or to lose away to a Denmark team that isn't that crazy. I think Germany are just a higher level than that. So I think I have Germany and Spain going through the final. What about you?
I've got Germany. I think Portugal didn't look good. Didn't look dominant against Denmark. Mm-hmm. Denmark had a lot of more chances than they should have, and Portugal's got a lot of high quality, but the team itself isn't playing. I wouldn't say they're they're going to be better than Germany.
yeah.
I definitely Germany's a solid squad, both individually and as a team. So I'm taking Germany, and then I'm taking France over Spain.
Okay.
Just a lot of firepower from France. They're hungry as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, they're definitely
and in Spain, I don't know. I mean, they're quality, but well, I think they have a lot of mistakes, and I think just France is going to take advantage of that. So
Yeah.
that's my prediction. I hate predictions, but who knows? You
Yeah.
know? And then okay, well, that's the UEFA Nations League, and we'll move on to the CONMEBOL. They're really the only team the only group, I guess, that we'll discuss that are really playing for something important. They're already in World Cup qualifier mode.
Yeah.
So it's heating up. A lot of changes in the table.
Mm-hmm.
We were praising Colombia a couple months back, and now they're kind of like losing form, losing points, losing matches. So a lot of shifts in that region. Real quick, just to highlight some of the results: Paraguay beating Chile 1-0 in Paraguay. Peru beating Bolivia 3-1 at home, and then Ecuador beating Venezuela 2-1 in Ecuador. Some of the more important matches: Brazil beating Colombia 2-1. Pretty exciting match. It kind of went down to the last minute with Vinicius Jr. giving Brazil the victory late in that match. Kind of a good strike, and then a lucky deflection, and then just ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Heartbreak for Colombia, who they looked like they were gonna at least get a point out of this match in Brazil. Andrew, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Colombia and Brazil kind of switched form. I think Brazil into that World Cup were kind of disappointing, obviously losing to this Colombia team on penalties in the Copa America. But yeah, I think recently they've kind of switched now, and it's nice to see Brazil finally find their feet and form, especially with the players that they have. And obviously you have Rafinha now, who's arguably the best player in the world, and obviously scoring a lethal penalty. But yeah, I mean, this is going to give hopefully Brazil more confidence, more power to probably do something in the World Cup and in the CONMEBOL qualifiers. So yeah, it's nice to see Brazil finally become that nation that they kind of used to been. But I think they still need more more power. They still need to show more of that brilliance that they used to have. So yeah. And they did this all without Neymar. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Neymar would really change it, but one of their players, that they always want and need in the squad. So
he's hurt again.
Yeah.
He's fragile, man.
Yeah,
Fragile. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could have made it. He could make a difference. He's been playing very good in Santos. The games that the highlights I did see, like he looked good. He looked like he was in a little bit of form. I think being back in Brazil is probably good for him too. Like he's happy. Elsewhere in the CONMEBOL, the qualifiers, a big matchup between two historic nations. Uruguay posting Argentina, a 1-0 victory going to Argentina, to the defending World Cup winners. A very good goal by Thiago Almada. Andrew, any points that you want to talk about in that match?
No, yeah. I mean, I think you expect always in a CONMEBOL match, it's always going to be brutal. There's always going to be, it's usually just men out there just bodying and everything. So, but I think it was a great match, very intense match. Obviously, Thiago Almada with a beautiful goal. And I believe this is one of the first times that Messi isn't in the qualifier matches. So he actually misses it due to injury as well. But I mean, they get the victory. They get the victory away in Uruguay. So that's pretty tough to get there. But yeah, I mean, they keep winning, and I think that's what you want from this Argentina team, to keep winning, having confidence, especially after the World Cup win and the Copa America win. And yeah, I mean, with this win, they keep leading the standings with 22 points, pretty high as well up there. But yeah, now they have to face a pretty tough team in Brazil now, so it's going to be a very interesting match to see between Brazil and Argentina. So
yeah, Argentina, man, they got to start getting used to to life without Messi, huh?
Yeah,
It's kind of getting to that point. I think he'll still be at the World Cup in 2026, but it will be a reality for them pretty shortly.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, actually. Kind of sad to we've been watching Leo Messi for so long, and enjoying him in both Europe and club level, and then in the national team for Argentina. So yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Argentina still has a lot of high quality players. Uruguay as well. It's kind of surprised that Uruguay allowed Argentina to be so much on them on the ball. They look like they dominated possession. I know Uruguay is comfortable with that style of play, but I think they have quality to play more aggressively. So yeah, just kind of a surprising result to me. But I think Uruguay is going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, they have a pretty promising coach in Marco Bielsa. So, yeah.
Did you know that the Uruguayans consider themselves 4-time World Cup winners?
No, I did not.
Do you know why? Or actually, I'll give you the reason. Before the World Cup was, the FIFA World Cup official tournament, the official world champion of football was the Olympic winner, the winner of the Olympic Games, because it was the only international competition where the nations competed was the Olympics. Again, before the World Cup was established, and they won it twice.
Before that,
yeah, they won the so they consider themselves four-time World Cup winners. And then when the World Cup finally began, right, and was established, Uruguay was the first winner of that tournament. I think it was that generation that had lived and won the Olympics. The Olympics. So they were just kept rolling it. Yeah, so just so you're aware. Pretty interesting. As you mentioned, in the standings, Argentina still at number 1 with 28 points, pretty clear above everyone else. They're followed by Ecuador. Surprise, kind of a surprise there, but not too much of a surprise. You and I, when we cover Europe and Mexico and in South America, we realize how many Ecuadorian players are throughout these teams and throughout these leagues and important games. Or maybe they're kind of quiet. You don't really know about them, but they're there and they perform. So
and it's also very tough to play at their home. They have that advantage. With what is it? The
elevation.
Yeah, the elevation
above sea level. Yeah, they play super high up. It is a huge advantage, and it's something that's always talked about them in Bolivia. I don't know what's going on with Bolivia though, but they're not able to take advantage of it. I don't know. Well, they don't have the same quality as players. So when you combine the two, right? In the number 3 spot, you have Brazil, followed by Uruguay and Paraguay. And then dropping down to 6th is Colombia with a couple of tough losses in the last World Cup qualifier. So we'll continue to look out for this the standings as they continue to shift. Next round of the World Cup qualifiers in South America will take place tomorrow. It's at midday, really local time here in the West Coast. And then the matches are as follows. Bolivia will host Uruguay. Chile will host Ecuador. Venezuela will host Peru. And then Colombia, Paraguay. But then the big matchup of the night tomorrow, Argentina hosting Brazil. It's going to be at the Estadio Monumental where River Plate plays their home games. They're in Buenos Aires. And just, highly recommend that match. Argentina versus Brazil. Not much else to say. Two of the best teams in the history of the game. Currently in form. Argentina, obviously in form. Leading this qualifier, and then Brazil, who is gaining form. They're starting to heat up too. So,
did you hear what Rafinha said leading into this game? He had an interview with Rivaldo, obviously the Brazilian star. He had asked him, what do you expect going into this game? And he's like, yeah, there's no respect for that team for Argentina. I wanna fucking kill them. Like he said that it's like in the match and outside of the match. So it's gonna be
Whoa.
a very interesting match between Argentina. You always know that there's always some physical stuff happening there. So it's gonna be very tough. So I'm really looking forward to this
Awesome.
game.
Awesome.
And you have that coming from arguably the most informed player in the world, so you expect him to do something in this match. So I call that Rafinha will probably score a goal against Argentina.
He's motivated.
Yeah, he's motivated.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you expect a great matchup from those two nations, and definitely going to be very exciting to watch. And can't wait for it to kick off.
Yeah.
I think with that is gonna wrap up this weekend's edition of the After 90 Talk. We hope to bring you another episode with the results of the upcoming CONMEBOL matchup. So stay tuned for that. Remember to all please like, share, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah.
And again, we want to thank you guys for your support. Andrew, any words to sign off the show?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.